Hello, I'm Diana Arbutina with Carlson Marketing Group. I'm the Senior Director of Client Strategy.
And I'm Brenda Higuchi. I'm Vice President of Strategy and Measurement at Carlson Marketing.
Diana and Brenda will be talking to us about the relationship between employee engagement, customer loyalty, and the role analytics play in that. So let's get started to it. Can either one of you just jump in on this? I guess, talk about how all of those three things sort of work together and how companies should be looking to manage them.
Okay. Well, at the end of the day, in an organization where you have a situation where your sales associates or agents are selling to customers, there's different aspects and ways that you can support that relationship. One is to engage the employees, and that's what Diana can talk to a bit more in detail. But the way you can do that is to drive the incentives for the right selling behaviors, but also ensure that you're giving them the training and tools required to exhibit the relationship building behaviors with that audience as well. At the same time, you need to be looking at how the organization is engaging your customers. One of the primary tools for that, of course, is a loyalty program. But any ways in which you have to collect information on customers, really better understand the values and needs of those customers, and ultimately leverage that and support the sales associates with that knowledge to improve that relationship.
Okay. And Diane?
Okay, in terms of employee engagement, and just to add on to what Brenda had mentioned, is we really look at that relationship that organization is having with their employees and say, what are the key things that they're doing to help them really be engaged? A lot of times we look at what is the learning that can be provided, what is the mentoring that is involved, and what is the recognition and reward that's being offered to these employees to really get them engaged. We want them to be positive, we want them to be proactive, and we want them to get their hearts and minds in the organization. And really, at the end of the day, once they have their heart and mind, we know that they're going to service that customer much better and get the right information from that customer and nurture that relationship.
And as far as bringing in the whole data component to it to help improve performance and sales, how do we integrate that into the employees', I guess, everyday work life?
Well, what we need to do is really provide that information at the employee's fingertips to be able to access that information in a digestible manner, and then again marry the incentives to the use of that information, the collection of that information. For example, if you want your employees to be nurturing that relationship with your customer, you can incent them for the number of profile clients that they have in the database, in addition to the number of sales that they're transacting with, to really line that up and provide those right incentives.
And as far as I guess maybe getting them to gather that data and even use it when they're prospecting for sales, is there any advice for how you can do that?
Well, I think when we're looking at historically, sales associates are always collecting that information by nature. If it's not in their little black book, they put it in some sort of Excel spreadsheet that they're holding on their own. What we're wanting them to do is, as we move into this, CRM, is put that information in the database that it's accessible to all, so that they're not the only ones using it, but the organization is able to look at that information and help them profile their customers in a much more effective manner, so that they're not afraid. And a lot of people want to guard that information. It's really helping them understand how that information is going to be used, that they're not going to be penalized if somebody else is looking at it and profiling. So I think the key thing is getting them to understand the information, encouraging them, providing them with the right tools is a key benefit in the end.
For example, if they were to understand that by collecting that customer information and tying it to the transaction information, that they could understand where the growth potential exists in their current customer portfolio, they could then improve their sales and improve their performance and improve their rewards as a result.
And what role does training play in all of this?
And training is a crucial portion of it. When we look at the sales associate, it's not just training on the products, but it's also training on really understanding the lifestyle of the customer that they're involved in servicing. So we've had examples of where you're training them on, this customer, these are the type of events that they go to, so they can understand this is how they would service them. These are the type of trips that they're involved in. So giving them that information, as well as sales training, which is quite important as well, because a lot of times sales associates look at themselves as a franchise within a franchise, and letting them understand how to run their own business is a key thing as well.
It's interesting that you see a lot of the training that these organizations do is centered around the brand, around the products, as Diana mentioned, as well around customer policies and procedures. But then ultimately, sales associates are rewarded for the transaction. They're not being rewarded for exhibiting those brand building and relationship building behaviors.
And how important is it to get the management buy-in from this?
Absolutely. It's almost the most crucial thing, particularly, let's say, at employee engagement. Getting your managers engaged, having faith in their employees, and giving them the opportunity to, what we look at is use good judgment. What you want to do is put the policies in place, train your employees in knowing how to use it, and then letting them go ahead and do it. And I think the key thing is, if you're saying one thing and you're not following up on it, that's the wrong behavior that you're exhibiting to your employees.